Hello, I'm Trinity.
0, 1.
To have the respect and affection of other people is one of the most important things in life. Yet we don't think about it much, except when we're outside of the group, wanting to belong. Wow, man, freak out! But you can't do this. You know how much I sacrificed? I was sitting wishing I was dead.
Hello guys, am I late? I had a challenge for myself for every day of Shadow Week that I would wear a dress every day to cater to my feminine nature, I guess. So, here's my dress. This is the green one. Just the green with a little slit. Yes, me love. Okay. Hold on, because I'm about to crash out. Where's my notebook? Well, this is so irresponsible of me. I never do this. Like, watch, I'm gonna find this fucking notebook when I get off of here in the episode. Alright, so since this is day 0 of Shadow Week, we're gonna do something different. Luckily, I have a whole bunch of different shadow downloads. Like, obviously, that was a notebook for specifically for this week, but I have some downloads in here that I can actually relay. Recently, I just watched the Sinners movie for the first time because somebody sent me the link to watch it for free, and I was utterly impressed. I want to say, first of all, whoever said that movie was like, oh, it's just about eating pussy, it's just so sexual, brother. The sex scenes were very tasteful. Like, I swear, I watched Queen and Slim the other day too. That was more sexual than freaking Sinners. I loved the movie, very tasteful. Had a lot of shout out downloads in there. So luckily, I have some downloads in here we can relay. Anyway, so today we're going to be going over some notes I took from Sinners. And yes, there are quotes from the movie, but they're definitely like downloads for our shadow selves because we watched that movie. There's a lot of shadow elements in that movie. Okay, so this is going to be fun. All right, maybe Spirit meant for me to lose my notebook right before I have to go live. That's fucking crazy still, but we're not going to talk about it. So, you're just coming in here. The notes are coming from the Sinners movie. All right, so the first quote that I got from the movie is, there are legends of people born with the gift of making music so true, it can pierce the veil between life and death. Now, there's many ways I can interpret this download or this quote. But how I'm going to interpret is, one, I don't have to always relate it back to like whomever is making music. You know how like people have a craft and they'll have a saying, they'll be like, it's like music to my ears, some shit like that. So like we can do it metaphorically. When you have certain gifts, correct, and they're so potent, I mean ancestral, right? And when you're born and when you're going through life and your karmic cycle, I feel like your karmic cycle, honestly, is very potent in the beginning of your life, obviously, because you're a child and you're learning a lot and stuff like that. Sometimes gifts can be raised within you very distorted. For example, a lot of my gifts that I was born with, that I was passed down from ancestral line or whatever, are darker in nature. So meaning I can speak to the dead, or you know, my dreams are a little darker, or I can dive in the shadow realms, so to speak, which is why I kind of gravitate towards shadow work. Anyway, let me just calm down and slow down how I explain this. If you had any type of trauma in your childhood, as far as like, it could be ranging from extreme to medium, I guess, it can distort your gifts. Meaning, if your gifts weren't tailored, not tailored, if your gifts weren't taken care of. So say your parents aren't into, spirituality or, catering to the things in the 5D, correct? You grow up, right, and you're going through life, you're probably experiencing little traumas and everything in your family, and your family saying certain things that are like, making you mold to be who you are today, basically, right? You're growing up with these gifts, you don't even know they're gifts. You're growing up with these abilities, and you don't even know that they're supposed to be abilities that you're supposed to use on your path. For example, say you do have the gift of singing, or say you do have the gift, just the throat chakra gift, correct? Your words can cut people's throats, almost in a literal sense, but really metaphorically. And what I mean by that is, say you were born into a family that is very, very strict, and because they were so strict, being able to speak up in your family was a little tricky, or being able to have an opinion in your family was very tricky, or was not really condoned because of the lack of maturity that your parents really had. A lot of people have a misconception of the strict parent archetypes as far as that goes. Like, they think that those are the most, mature parents, and they have the, 9 times out of 10, the ones that are super duper 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 strict like that, they're strict because they were badass kids. One, they're strict and if that was the case, they're strict because they had so much trauma growing up that they don't want you to go through half of that or any of that, so they are parenting out of fear. So that's a lot of the reasons why a lot of these strict parents are parenting like that. But to get that out of the way, you have strict parents, so you're not allowed to speak up for yourself. You're not allowed to be honest with them, because the moment you're honest with strict parents, majority of the time, they will take it as a threat. They will take it as you are being disrespectful. So you silence yourself, and that's the main gift that a lot of kids have, is the gift of gab. So if after a while a child becomes silenced, how are they growing up and facilitating this gift? How are they growing up and nurturing this gift of gab, this gift that they will then need when they grow up? So a lot of people in my collective, I do feel like, for people who have speech impediments, for people who have a stutter, for people who get tongue-tied, or for people who legitimately sometimes have a hard time finding the words to say things, but you have so much in your head, I feel like 1919 on the clock. Sorry, I turned my time to military time. So when I'm saying time confirmations, it'll be some of it will be in military time, but 1919 on the clock. What was I saying? I feel like a lot of people in my collective are recovering from strict parents. And I know, I'm like, how the fuck did you get that from this quote? I'm saying, in this quote, they're saying that there are legends of people born with the gift of making music so true. It can pierce the veil between life and death. If your gift of gab can pierce the veil between life and death, just based off the truth you speak or the power behind your words, and you grew up with parents that silenced you, how the fuck are you supposed to adequately grow up and do what you need to do in this lifetime? Because at the end of the day, like, we're adults now, correct? Everybody who follows me should be an adult. I don't follow any kids. Yeah, I've been trying. Yeah, we don't have to. You don't have to blame your parents. This is not what the shadow work is for. It's just to understand where they're coming from, understand why you may be the way you are. Like, the ultimate goal is to always forgive your parents, and even if there are other people's parents that did like damage to their kids that we won't talk about, but understanding the reason why may help, but you also can hold them accountable. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a whole other story. But for anybody who feels like that you came here and one of your main gifts are your voice, whether that be rapping, singing, or just public speaking, or giving advice, whatever like your superpower is, and you feel like it's been stifled, or if you feel like it's been affected, you have to practice using your voice even when you're scared. Speak up when you're scared. Speak out when you feel like, like, if you say you were in public, right, and you see some wrong shit, you need to speak the fuck up. And especially for the people who really want to, and they usually remain silent because A, they're shy, or B, maybe maybe they're like, oh, well, it's not my business, or like, no. The moment you get that inkling to speak out or speak up for somebody, or just to like, you know, point out what something was wrong or right, do that shit, because you are accessing every power within you when you use your gift. The more you use it, the more you will have it. Because remember, you know the saying, you use it or lose it. You know what I'm saying? Like, God gives us these gifts for a reason. You're not using that shit, then you can get the boot and you won't be able to have it, and then you're gonna be lost in life if you're not facilitating your gifts. He said, I get what you're saying completely. I do be silenced. Yeah, you cannot. Yes, if you're silencing yourself, then some way or shape or form in your childhood you were silenced. So you grow up in turn thinking that you need to silence yourself, or you grow up in turn thinking that what you say is you think you're confirmation. You think you're hurting other people's feelings with the truth. Who gives a fuck? The truth is stranger than fiction. The truth is actual love. The truth will set people free. The truth put things back in order. The truth shakes up the world. The truth. Speak life. Speak love. Speak light. Don't ever let, you know, your past or what you've been through get to you to the point where you don't use that gift. Because there are people who are mute out here who can't use their voice. Like, not the people who choose to be mute. I'm talking about people who literally can't use it. So, yeah. Oh, I'm kind of glad I couldn't find my notebook today, because I like these downloads. They're different. All right, moving on to the next download. The second half, actually, there was a second half of that download. So, basically, they're saying, I'll read the whole entire thing. There are legends of people born with the gift of making music so true it can pierce the veil between life and death, conjuring spirits from the past and future. These gifts can bring life and positivity to communities, but they can also attract evil. So that half of the download, I just feel like for others, what I said in the beginning, you could have been silenced. But for the other half of you guys, the way your childhood affected your throat chakra was to the point where you can't shut the fuck up. That's the other half. Or you just don't know when to be quiet. And I'm saying this with all love. I feel like you were there, because everybody reacts to trauma different ways and, you know, grows up differently. Somebody could be put in the same situation and you react differently. So I feel like for this group of people we're talking about right now are for the ones who were silenced, or who were attempted to be silenced by their loved ones and then grew up to have a fat ass mouth, or grew up so they can't shut the fuck up, or they're so honest that they scare niggas. They're so honest and so upfront and blunt. Mind you, this is probably more likely me, because my last name is Blunt. We're not going to talk about that. You speak up a little bit too much to the point where you don't know when to shut up in certain situations, because sometimes silence is key. For this group, you need to learn how to be the fuck quiet. Shut the fuck up. Because yes, truth is power, truth is knowledge, but truth is power, truth is knowledge. Learn when and where to say things. Yes, being a little too honest can be a little, you know, the key is to find the balance. And it's not to just sit here and be like, oh, well, I need to like silence myself. No, it's just there's a time and place in having decorum when we're speaking with truth and power and knowledge. Just your disposition alone can affect people. The way you say things can affect people. What you say and when you say can affect people. And even the people you love, you think, okay, well, I'm going to be straight up. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be blunt. Yeah. They got it. And then you end up crushing their spirits because it was the wrong timing. And I've said a lot of truths in the wrong timing. Like, I should have just shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? So the reason how this happens, how people get on this side of the spectrum as far as not knowing when to hush, is because they were silent so much as a kid that they feel like they need to rebel against that silence and always use their throat chakra and not be selective when they do so. Saying the wrong thing around the wrong person could fuck a whole season. Oh my, let me read this again. Saying the wrong thing around the wrong person could fuck a whole season up. Yes, bruh. Like, sometimes learning to be quiet is key. Because your words can open up portals. Your world can, like the quote says, can conjure spirits from the past and the future. can attract evil as well. So just be more mindful, because I feel like for some people, y'all have mindless behavior when it comes to your words because you felt like you were silent as a kid, so you just need to always talk, but sometimes you don't need to always talk. And there's power in silence as well. I know y'all saw that. My pen really fucked around and flew. Anyway, the next little note I took from Sinners is... in the beginning of the movie, they had stated that they moved back home because they'd rather deal with the devil they know. Confirmation, yeah, for real. They moved back home because they'd rather deal with the devil they know. And I feel like what we can get from this download is... these birds is talking like shit. I feel like a lot of people, including me, I had this idea in my head, correct, about where I was going to go and how I was going to, like, live my life and where I was going to do it and shit, you know what I'm saying? And then, bam, you know what I'm saying? I ended up going through, like, Dark Night of the Soul. I freaking went through spiritual psychosis. I had several suicide attempts. A whole bunch of stuff happened, which I'm not a stranger to, you know, mental health stuff. But this was insane for the last 3-4 years, okay? So I went through a lot, correct? And it set me back, so to speak. But through all the darkness, you know what I'm saying, I learned to really love where I'm from. Yes, there are pros and cons to where I live, correct? But I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. So when this saying says they move back home because they'd rather deal with the devil they know, my mind was not in the present moment. My mind was not in the present area. Because I'm always so future focused, or just always I'm such a daydreamer. So my brain can put me in another space and time, and it's not resonating with my current reality. So I'm over here in La La Land, and my current reality is not being taken care of as much. My current mental health is not being taken care of as much. You know what I'm saying? So if you're anything like me, you would have to take your brain or take your thoughts and bring it into your current reality so you can deal with the devils you know, meaning you can deal with your own devils, your own demons, your own entities, the ones you're familiar with. I did move back to the city I was born in 3 years ago as well. Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my God. I feel like physically, God has moved a lot of my collective back to where they're from, or they have kept a lot of my collective where they're from, simply because you're not done here. I'm sorry, but a lot of you guys are not done here, and it's like you probably have seen people, you know, move out to California, or they'll move to like a whole different state or wherever, you know what I'm saying? Especially for my people on the East Coast, you know what I'm saying? You see so many people move outward to like warmer climates and everything, because we have all 4 seasons and shit. And you're like, well, what am I doing? You know what I'm saying? You know, you're almost like, you're not comparing yourself, but you're kind of like, well, why the fuck am I still here? You know what I'm saying? You get the fuck up out of here. But the more you really do the inner work, the more you focus on yourself and you work with what you have, I feel like you start to appreciate where you're from, or you start to appreciate where you were put. Because a lot of people in my collective, where we were put, we were supposed to do a lot of work here. And I'm saying that because a lot of people in my collective are supposed to be pioneers. We're supposed to be people who are going to pave a new way for the people around us and the people after us, the kids coming up, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people in my collective are leaders. And if a lot of people in my collective are leaders, leaving where you come from, or like always trying to go out, or like go out, source out, is not going to be your answer. So unfortunately, I know it's the feeling of, okay, well, I want to start this business, or I want to be in this industry. You know, who gives a fuck? It's not about that. You're going to bring something different to whatever you're doing, correct? Cool. So in order for you to do that, you need to stay where you're from. You know why you need to stay where you're from? Because where you're from actually has some key elements to you that you still haven't even unlocked. So many people want to rush. Okay, y'all ever notice them shorties that move out? They go to Georgia or something like that. I don't know why I said Georgia, but they move to Georgia, or they move to Miami, or they move to California, right? They get there maybe 3 years, maybe top, and they end up right back where they're from. Not saying they didn't learn anything, not saying, you know, they didn't benefit them or anything. But it's like you ended up right back where you came from. You might as well have stayed there. And when people think that because they move a physical location, it's gonna change shit in their inner. People think that, okay, I'm gonna move to sunny side of California. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be healed or I'm gonna be fixed. No, bitch, you're not. Gotta understand your environment before you can understand others. Correct. And when you understand your physical environment that you are born in, that you come from, you in turn understand your inner environment. Your outer environment always reflects your inner. So where you come from, you can still learn a lot from. And honestly, for the people who are still in, I love you too. For the people who are still in the places that they're from, don't be ashamed, because honestly, I started appreciating being still in Virginia right when a lot of people left Virginia. Like when everybody was going to college and everybody was, moving outwards and moving to the city or whatever, I was like, damn, it's peaceful as fuck. Y'all bitches is gone. I started enjoying where I'm from more because it was so quiet. It left. Yes, I went through some things mentally. I almost ended up in the psycho. We're not going to talk about that, but that's not the point. The point is I went through the mud and came back out and I experienced myself in a whole new way, and I appreciate who I am. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not running. People need to stop running from who they are and thinking that they can just keep masks on for the sake of evolution. Especially people with, especially even spiritual people, like they're like, oh, my hometown, it's not high vibrational. Bitch, you come from there. Who the fuck do you think you are?
Please take this with nuance and a grain of fucking salt. Obviously, if you're from like fucking Chirac or like a certain area, it's fucking that dangerous, then yes, I will understand. But everybody likes to take what the fuck I say so fucking literal. Calm the fuck down. Like, bitch, if it don't apply, then let it fucking fly and enjoy the commentary. You can still learn from something that you might not resonate with. Just chill on me, all right? I don't know who's thinking it, but oh, she don't know what she talking about. Well, bitch, maybe it don't apply to you. Damn. I made this picture way too long for a motherfucking voice memo. Way too long for a voice fucking over, okay? So I'm trying to fill some space. La 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 la. I hope you guys are enjoying the Shadow Reaches episode this time around. This is the Sinners edition. You know what I'm saying? I was pretty late to watching it, but bitch, I wasn't really late. I was on time. The fuck? What else? I hope that, you're alive and healthy and wealthy and all that stuff in every sense of the word while you watching this. You know what I'm saying? Wealthy and healthy is in the mind and the body first, and the spirit before we get to the monies. But we're going to get to the monies now. We're going to get to the monies. But yeah, I love y'all, and let's continue. Well, hold on. I made this picture way too long in length, and I didn't feel like editing it out, so hold on. It's almost done. All right. Yeah. All right. Goodbye.
Like, I think people, they big up themselves a little bit too much. And I'm not telling you to be humble. I'm not saying you need to like down yourself, but really analyze where you're at. You know what I'm saying? You will never get more from God when you don't utilize everything he gave you. And if you think you got something for God after you not being grateful and you not utilizing the stuff you already have, it wasn't from God, baby. That's why these girls are moving back to their hometown, because that shit wasn't from God. That opportunity to move to another place wasn't from God. It wasn't from the Most High. That shit was, who that's from. That's either from a very, very lower, distorted version of your shadow that wanted to force evolution, or that's from the devil himself. The opportunity was not from God. He said, water the seed and nurture the plant instead of changing the pot. Oh, yeah. Smell chicken. I don't even eat meat, but I still love the smell of freaking meat, bro. I love it. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Ooh, somebody just sent me that unreleased music. I love y'all. Anyway, we can move on from that. I feel like you guys get what I'm saying. And I think this is the last quote I got from the movie, and I'm probably gonna dip because I really need to find my notebook for this week. Like, I'm really mad I lost my notebook. All right, so the last one is somebody all right? See, white people like the blues just fine, just not the people who made it. All right, so I'm gonna read that one more time. See, white people like the blues just fine, just not the people who made it. And this could relate to white people. This could also relate to any type of person who has colonized your energy, or this can relate to the people who want your fucking life. Or this can relate to your ops or your people who friggin' don't want the best for you. This can relate to the people who actually want that something that you have, but they don't want what comes with it. And what I say to that is, when you really truly understand that, when you understand, like some people are like, okay, why do I have so many monitoring spirits on my page that watch me and don't support? Or why do I have so many people who copy me and they don't like give me my credit? And you're getting angry and you feel it inside because you're like, bro, like, I've been doing this shit for a long time. Why am I not getting my recognition? Or why am I not getting my flowers? First of all, you give yourself flowers every day you live. At the end of the day, you already know how that goes. When you die, they give you the most flowers anyway. But I feel like you need to understand, these niggas will never have your blueprint. These niggas will never have your life. And these niggas will never be able to embody the true essence you have, because they can't just embody your light. They have to embody your dark as well. Like, people are not wanting to admit when they steal someone's entire persona because they have not found themselves, or because they're too lazy to go deep within. I also feel like there are some people in my collective that have gotten so obsessed with their ops, or gotten so obsessed with people who are quote unquote jealous or whatever of them, that they're not focusing on the bigger picture. If you're a pioneer, if your story is going to be grand, if you are a person who's going to make your mark on this world, and you walk with God, you don't think you're going to have people who are inspired by you, or people who even want to be you, or want to freaking, you don't think you're going to have copycats. You don't think you're going to, that's inevitable. We're doing this shadow work. So yes, so we can integrate the light and dark, but so we can also become who we are every day. And when you become who you are every day, and you know who you are every day, the little things like that, like these monitoring spirits, the people who want to copy you, the people who want to hate but imitate, they bother you less and less. Their energy becomes quieter, because you know how the game works. You know how energy works. You know what I'm saying? You know how attraction works, the law of attraction. You know how all these things work when you continue to do the inner work. So you start to worry less about people who are not on your side, and the people who are trying to be you. They're trying to be you because they're lost. They're trying to be you because something inside of them does not want to come out, or something inside of them is forcing them not to love themselves fully. You almost have to have empathy for these people. And I'm saying this because it is sad, after your inner work, you start to reflect back and see everyone else's demons and everything else, and you're just like, it's a whole cesspool of darkness and void, and you understand them so much that you just, like, you feel for them, and then you move on. That's what this shadow work is for, because yes, you can ignore your haters. You can, oh, I have haters, but when you really do that inner work, you realize, damn, I was lost. Maybe not in the same way they were lost, and maybe I wasn't as, that, but everybody was lost at some way, shape, or form. Everybody didn't know who they were at some time in their life. Everybody had a moment where they didn't want to be them. You didn't necessarily want to be somebody else, maybe, but you didn't want to be you. But it wasn't because you didn't want to be you. You didn't want to be this version of yourself that you were trapped in, simply because you didn't heal within something. You didn't heal something within your childhood. You didn't heal something that you experienced in this lifetime. Our karmic path that we experienced in the beginning half of our life still teaches us things. So whether you're in your dharmic path right now with you're in the new world or not, you still have to learn from your old life. You still have to learn from your past self. That part of you never goes away. And honestly, the more you heal your current version, your past self is like oh my gosh, like hug yourself, man. Like, I want everybody to breathe right now and think about how far you've come in the last 5 years. Everybody here made it out of COVID alive. Let's just say that. There were people who died. Everybody made it out of the natural disasters that happened in the last 5 years alive. Everybody made it out of their own mental hell alive. Somehow, some way, you did that shit. My brother. Anyway, you did that shit. So, just be patient with yourself. So then, so half the time, being patient with others is like, you know. But I'm not saying you have to deal with the motherfuckers, okay? If somebody you fucked up, you're allowed to block people, you're allowed to ignore, you're allowed to turn the other cheek, you're allowed to do what you need to do. I'm just saying all this to say you don't have to let things affect you as much when you continue to do the work. He's saying it wrong. It's ooh, baby, have a way with me some more. All right. No, yes, watch Sinners. All these notes, all these downloads came from Sinners. I'm going to send you the link. If anybody who has been here and who did not watch Sinners, I recently just watched Sinners and I got all these downloads from Sinners for today, our episode. If you would like the free link to watch it. Not you dancing on beats, the Pitbull playing in my house. Oh, you like Pitbull? That's how you know we're aligned. Anytime Pitbull just pops up, you just know. His bald ass. I love his ass. Anyway, if anybody wants the free link to Sinners to watch for themselves, I will let me know. I'll DM me and I'll send it to you because I just recently watched it. But I love you guys. I had a great time this episode. Thank you for the people who actually stayed and was here with me. Obviously I have like a new thing. I don't post these lives on my thing, but I always save the lives and they end up, all of my episodes for the Shadow Reaches always end up on YouTube. So for the people who maybe have not tapped into the other episodes of my Shadow Reach series, the link is in the bio for my main channel. You guys can watch the other episodes and take notes. Shadow work is not just something we can just do like a week out of the month like I'm doing these episodes. Shadow work you can do every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can always go within every day, or maybe, you know what I'm saying? Just check in with yourself every day. I love you guys. And I'm definitely going to look for my notebook that I lost. But you proud of me, guys? I didn't crash out. But yeah, I love you guys so much. I'll be back here tomorrow at the same time. And wait. Tomorrow, I'm going to have a special guest for the next episode. Tomorrow's episode 15. Episode 15? Yes. And I'm going to have a guest with me for tomorrow's episode. So I love you and goodbye.